Hey, 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 you're waking up with Craig. Good morning on Monday, November 26th. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. We are going to start with our quote of the day. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Vince Lombardi. Joining me today is Kyle Fuzz Hansen and Drew Tyner is back. Tyner, what do you think the biggest win of this weekend was?
It's tough for me to pick one because the Broncos had a big win and the Ravens had a big win, even though they played the less than average Raiders. But my biggest win of the day goes to the Browns, showing they made the right choice moving on from Hugh Jackson. And Baker Mayfield did not hold back with his comments about Hugh Jackson, saying that he was holding him back and he didn't even acknowledge him after the game. The Browns showed that they are headed in the right direction. Yes, they're 4-6-1. Are they headed for the playoffs? No, they are not. But the Browns had the biggest W today for the future.
And now, a surprise guest from Bo Norcross going through a tough day getting up from yesterday's loss. We'll get to that in a minute. But, Fuzz, what was your biggest win of the weekend?
For me, it's got to be Seattle, and I'll tell you why. They were 5-5, and the Panthers were 6-4. They needed this win to be in wild card contention. And Russell Wilson put on the clutch gene. I don't know if you guys were watching. 4th and 1, at his own 40 or something, down 7 points, about 4 minutes to go. Bomb right to David Moore, right in his hands, ties up the game.
He took a deep shot there, and the biggest thing about that win today is the head-to-head now.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big part, and we saw that in the Vikings game tonight. Last night, we saw that in the Seattle game yesterday. That's what happens. Those head-to-heads are going to be big now. Bo, what was your biggest win of the day?
The Eagles. The Eagles looked dead to rights today against the Giants, and they found a way to come back and win that game. And now, only a game back of the Cowboys, and technically the Skins. I don't think the Skins got a chance at the division, but I do believe that the Eagles could really win that division. They got a chance.
Now, my most disappointing loss this weekend was yesterday's Jaguars. They were 3-1. They beat the Pats, and they have lost 7 in a row. Talk about a collapse. I mean, that's just embarrassing at this point. Tyner, what was your biggest loss of the weekend?
Now, you might think I'm going to take the Giants, but I'm not. They're the Giants. My biggest win of the day was the Browns. My biggest loss of the day is on the other side for the Bengals. They have lost their last 3 and 5 of their last 6. Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis continue to show the world what average means. They are never going to be good. They are never going to be terrible. And Hugh Jackson comes from Cleveland to coach a team within the division and provides little to no help, so it seemed. I think this is the biggest loss for the Bengals. They may not get in now in what looked like a very promising season for the Cincinnati Bengals.
And we will get into that game and that coaching a little bit later. Fuzz, what was your biggest loss or most disappointing loss of the weekend?
I got to agree with Tyler with the Bengals. I mean, being down 28-7 at home to the Browns, come on. That's terrible.
The Browns.
I mean, that's just embarrassing.
That's just
They
embarrassing.
looked promising, and
Like
you would
4-1 or something?
Yeah, you would think Hugh Jackson would give them something, but the truth is, he just knows nothing
They
at
hurt
this
him.
point. He knows nothing. But what was your most disappointing loss?
I mean, I think I have to agree with these guys. The Bengals just continue to collapse. Continue. No, every year we're like, oh, Bengals looking promising. No, wrong. Then they add Hugh Jackson. It's like,
Well, I mean, no A.J. Green definitely hurt them today.
Oh, it did.
That's
But, like, shout out to Baker.
Yeah.
But
my
I
guy.
mean, we
That's
were
my guy.
talking about earlier, maybe this is the year they go win the division. Maybe this is the year they have another average season, an average pick, and they continue to be, average.
And early in the year, the Steelers gave them a chance to run away with the division.
Mhm.
They gave them a chance. Now, a team that hasn't been disappointing as a team but plays a disappointing schedule is UCF. Tyler, is there a chance they get in?
No, their quarterback is hurt now. The committee wants to put in the 4 best teams, and they will look at resumes because you can't go on past years. You have to look at this year. But UCF going against potentially Bama in the first round, really anybody that makes the playoff, They don't have a chance. They're not going to put a team that's not a top 4 team into the playoff.
Fuzz, do you think UCF has a chance?
I really don't. I mean, I was rooting for them, but once their quarterback went down, I think the committee will look at that and say,
And say
No way.
it's a no-go.
Yeah. No
With
way.
their quarterback, I would love to see it. I'd love to
Mhm.
see. I mean, they won at Bama. They're going undefeated. I mean,
What sucks for them is I think last year's team was way better.
yeah.
I think their defense was better. I think they just played better, and they didn't get in then. So I don't know if they're going to put this team in now. But do you think UCF has a chance at all?
No, just no. I mean, you can't look at last year and be like, oh, they haven't lost a game since 2 years ago.
It's a
It
new
doesn't-
team.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They were so much better last year.
I mean, the only chance they have is if Georgia loses, Ohio State loses, and Oklahoma, so they all have 2 losses, and I guess they would consider an undefeated over a 2-loss, but really, like
But
Tyner said,
do you want the 4 best
Do you-
teams,
do you
or
want
do
the
you
4
want to
best
just
teams
put in
or-
the undefeated team?
and it's tough. Is it the 4 best or the 4 most deserving? And that's what the committee has to decide.
With their QB, I would accept the decision fully if
everyone was
those
2
teams have 2 losses.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd put them in. I want to see what they could do, but
Now,
not this year.
a team that's 2 teams that have played great over the years, the Vikings and the Packers. What did you see in that game, and what was the biggest takeaway from that game?
Kirk Cousins balled out. That's my biggest takeaway. The Vikings held their home ground. The Packers kept the trend up of losing road games. They're now 0-6 on the road this season. And if their backs weren't against the wall before this game, they're definitely against the wall this game. The Vikings definitely push for their spot to go to the postseason this year. They're 6-4-1 now.
Yeah.
And they have the head-to-head now over the Packers. They did not tie as I predicted. I guess I didn't see this one coming, but
And they have Seattle coming up, so that if they win that, they really control their own destiny.
they
at
do
this
have
point.
some strong games coming up that are going to be make or break. I think they get into the playoffs either way, but they're going to show what they're all about in the coming weeks.
Fuzz, what was your biggest takeaway from the game?
biggest takeaway would have to be, I don't know. I just don't think the Packers are good enough anymore. I mean, they got Rodgers. That's about it. Let's be honest. Cobb's washed up. Matthews is washed up. DeMonte Adams, probably a top 10 receiver in the league, but I mean, definitely a top 10 receiver.
Do you think
in
it's
the league.
time to start clearing some house?
I mean, I actually saw a stat that Mike McCarthy is the 25th all-time leader in wins. So, I mean, if you think about that, I don't think you can fire him.
Bo, what was your biggest takeaway from the game?
We suck.
His
We
face said it.
flat out suck. And it's driving me insane because we expect greatness and we're just not getting it. And Kyle's got a point that
Because I know you said
Mike
on the
is-
show that Mick Tubby should be fired. But that's a stat that makes it hard to fire him.
it does because of how well we have been, even when he's been there. But, like, when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers and you've only won one Super Bowl and you did it a while ago. I mean, that's 2010. 8 years from now, and we still haven't even been close, really? I mean,
You haven't been back to the Super Bowl.
no, we should have been, NFC North.
Another day, Bo.
Yeah.
Another day.
But
My biggest takeaway is going to be the defense decided to play. And the run game's gotten better. Dalvin Cook looked like himself yesterday. And I think the defense held Rodgers to 198 yards and just 1 touchdown. And, Bo, what do you think happened to Rodgers?
I mean, I give credit to that defense. They played really well. Rodgers missed that one throw to Devontae. But other than that, I mean, he had either no time or had to kind of throw it away. Like, I don't want him turning it over, so I get that. I think it's more credit to the Vikings defense than a discredit to Aaron Rodgers.
I have to also echo that. The Vikings defense has underperformed this year, I'd say, for the most part. And they really came to play today. And like I said, they made that statement. It started with their defense. Holding Aaron Rodgers and that offense to 17 points, you got a lot of chances to win games holding that offense to 17 points.
And I know you touched on Kirk Cousins. He was 0-3 this year in primetime games. Granted, they were against first-place division teams, the Rams, the Saints, and the Bears, all good teams. But he finally played well. He threw for 3 touchdowns and 342 passing yards. What do you think that does for him going forward?
You look at other athletes. You look at David Price this year in the playoffs. What is it going to do for him going forward? When Ricky wins his first major, what is it going to do for him going forward? You can only assume it's going to make him more of a confident player. It's going to make him more excited to go play that primetime game, excited to show the world that he still is a gunslinger and that he can perform for these Vikings and take them far. I think it only can build his confidence going forward.
And Fuzz, we talked earlier about how switching over now that Hugh Jackson going to the Bengals. The Bengals are turning into a joke. Do you think that Hugh Jackson should even be considered for head coaching jobs? Because it has been told that he is a high candidate for the Bengals head coach job, if Marvin Lewis leaves.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think Hugh Jackson is a terrible coach. I mean, look what he did in Cleveland. One win in 2 seasons. I mean, I think did he get 2 wins?
I think he got 2 wins before
he
he
got 2
left.
wins, but look, what's his name? Greg Williams.
Yeah.
He's come in. He's won 2 games already. So, I mean, look what he's done with the offense and the defense. But it should be interesting to see what they do next year. I think they should promote Greg Williams as their head coach. And, yeah, but as far as Cincinnati, I mean, Marvin Lewis, he's clearly not the answer, but
Hugh Jackson probably isn't the answer.
No, Hugh Jackson isn't the answer either. But I don't know who you sign for them. Just definitely not Hugh Jackson.
But what do you think about Hugh Jackson being a top candidate for the Bengals? Like, what do you think the Bengals have seen that makes them think that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He might be one of the worst coaches in the history of the NFL. Like,
Ben McAdoo is number 1 for me forever.
I just think that how can you even consider a guy who didn't win a single game last year? How I don't care how bad your team is, you should still win 1 game.
Tyler, what do you think?
I don't even want to comment. They've summed it up. I mean, look, clearly the talent was enough to get a couple wins because they've had a couple since Hugh Jackson left. Clearly something was holding them back, and that was Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson is not fit to be a coach in this league. He's not fit to be whatever role he took with the Bengals this year. He needs to go find a different profession, a different hobby. The NFL is not for him. Goodbye, Hugh Jackson.
Now, going from future head coach to current head coach, Marvin Lewis said the other day to Coach Harbaugh after the Ravens game, running quarterbacks don't last in this league, which is funny because Marvin Lewis has coached for 15 years with no playoff wins. So if that lasts in this league, I think anything lasts in this league. But what do you think about his comment about Lamar Jackson? Because there's people saying right now that Lamar Jackson should start over Joe Flacco.
Is it too out of pocket to say Mike Vick would have lasted if he didn't have dogs fighting each other? I mean, running quarterbacks can succeed in this league. They're such a nightmare for defenses to prepare for, as long as they can throw the ball a little. If your only attribute is running, then you're not going to last. But as long as you have the decent accuracy, look at Cam Newton. Cam Newton has been to a Super Bowl. He hasn't won, but he has become, especially this year, I've really grown on Cam Newton. I've always liked him, but as a player himself, he's done a great job this year. And I think we're coming into an age where running quarterbacks can succeed more, where it's going to be a bonus to you if you can keep the defense guessing all game whether you're going to drop back and pass or run it to the outside.
Now, but I know you've been high on Lamar. He's played pretty good these last 2 weeks. What do you think about that?
Well, to add on to what Tiny said, is he was talking about Cam Newton, right? And I agree. Cam Newton does a ton for the Panthers. But the difference is Cam Newton can be an MVP quarterback for your team. Lamar Jackson can't.
Do you think he can in the future, though?
No, I don't. I've always liked Lamar Jackson. I think he's a fantastic athlete. Do I think he makes it in this league as a quarterback? Probably not. I think realistically, he's one of those guys that'll maybe play for a year or 2.
Do you see him a lot as an RG3?
He's better. And RG3 had a great season.
RG3 got hurt. Hasn't been the same.
Right. I think Lamar will have a better NFL career as a whole because he'll be healthier.
Do you think he could make it, just not to the expectations some people have of him?
Right. Like he won't
live up to Cam Newton, but he could do okay for himself.
He might do all right. I think there's also a chance he could be turned into like a receiver at some point in his career. No one would be surprised.
Now, Fuzz, what do you think about Lamar Jackson or Flacco?
I think right now I choose Flacco, and just because Flacco's more experienced. Lamar Jackson, I mean, I think he threw for like 150 yards today, 2 interceptions. I mean, he played the Raiders at home, so I mean, like
His interceptions were gross too.
Yeah.
They weren't even
a
like.
couple bad balls.
Yeah, I mean, one of them was actually a really nice play by the Raiders defense. The guy tipped it up, and the guy caught it in the back of the end zone. But like,
He's throwing a double coverage there.
yeah, exactly. It's just not advised throw. Joe Flacco's gonna game manage more. I think Lamar Jackson gives you a chance for bigger plays, but
He could lose the game for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
He's young. He has a chance for improvement. I agree with them that maybe Lamar Jackson isn't going to be that quarterback I described, the one that can make defenses guess, can be successful for a long time with his speed and his throwing accuracy. But I agree with them. Lamar Jackson in this league probably not going to survive or progress to a top tier quarterback. But as far as running quarterbacks being okay in this league, there are going to be a select few running backs that do excel in this league, like Cam Newton.
So we go from talking about 2 players battling for one position to talk about 2 great golfers battling for $9 million. Tyner, what did you think about the Shadow Creek Showdown?
It was bad golf. Tiger didn't come to play at all, but in his age, I should say, mid-40s, he usually needs a couple practice rounds to get going, feel the course, and start to take off. Phil wanted it more. Tiger's prevented Phil from winning a lot of things in his career, and Phil really wanted to win this and put some of those demons away. He's never going to get those majors back. He's never going to get those wins back. Tiger will always be
Do you think Phil wanted
the
it a
greatest
little
of
bit
all
more?
time. Phil definitely wanted it more. In today's age, there's so many great golfers that nobody will pass Tiger, I think, as the GOAT, because in his era, he was just so dominant and so much better than everybody else. But as far as the matchups go, one-on-one, it needs to be more of a tournament style for match play. You need to have more golfers involved, a bracket. People, pick the bracket, see if they can win prizes off the bracket. I know the ratings weren't that great. People wanted to see it, but it won't happen again.
So you think they need to change the format, or else we won't be seeing something like that again?
That's
Like,
exactly what I think.
We need to add more people to it.
Yeah, I think some of the new age golfers, Justin Thomas versus Jordan Spieth, is probably a lot more interesting these days to this new age of golfer than Phil versus Tiger 10 years past their prime.
Now, Bo, I know we talked about the Packers-Vikings last night. It was tough loss. Is the Packers season over?
Probably. I mean, like Aaron Rodgers said tonight, 9-6 might not even be enough. And that's if we win out. I mean, Arizona's a win next week. Then we're at home against Atlanta, who's been struggling, so who knows. I mean, on the road against Chicago, at home against Detroit and the Jets. It's 5 games. You win out, but you put your fate in someone else's hands now. So do what we do, see if it's enough. If it's not, well, hopefully they fire McTubby and we move on to next year.
Fuzz, do you think the Packers season is over?
Yes, I do. I mean, they got to win 5 straight. And even if they do, they still might not even be in the playoffs. I mean, for instance, they got 0-6 on the road right now. 2
Well,
more
they got-
road games.
3% chance, is that what we saw today?
Yeah,
Yeah,
3%
so-
chance.
Tonight-
ESPN gave 15, though, surprisingly.
So tonight on NBC, they showed the Vikings with a win had a 73% chance and a 28% chance with a loss. The Packers had a 28% chance with a win and a 3% chance with a loss. So, Tyron, do you think the season's over?
Yeah. I don't think the Packers are headed to the postseason this year. I think best case scenario, they do fire Mike McCarthy. I don't even want to give an opinion on whether they do or not. Usually history can keep you around for a little while, what you've done in the past, which is a shame for Aaron Rodgers because we don't know, but we can assume what kind of accolades he could have without Mike McCarthy as coach, with someone better suited for him. But winning 5 straight isn't easy. Things happen. There are tough games coming up that maybe they aren't playing well right now. But, I mean, any given Sunday, something can happen. A team can upset another team. So I'm going to say no postseason this season for the Packers.
No, Ton, I want to bring something up you just said. You said winning 5 games straight isn't easy. Now, we've had you on the podcast recently, and you told our viewers and our listeners that the Giants are going to run the table and make the playoffs. They had a lead today, and they scored 3 points in the second half. Gave the ball to Saquon 4 times in the second half. Giants season's over, right?
I don't do this often. I'm a pretty stubborn individual. But I need to apologize to the listeners because I was wrong about the Giants winning the division at 9-7. I was mistaken. They were going to lose to the Eagles. But now they are going to run the table to 8-8. I see Fuzz and Bo laughing. This is not a joking matter. The Cowboys' collapse starts now.
Oh,
The
How often have
Eagles,
you been hanging out with Bo?
the Bears are not collapsing. The
Oh, I sure
Eagles
hope they do.
are going to not get enough wins to pass the Giants when they run the table. And the Redskins, we can end up tied with them. The Giants are going to win the division at 8-8. I believe in Eli. I don't believe in Pat Shurmur, so we can get him gone anytime soon.
Does someone pay you to say this on my show?
No. I
You
would never
truly
accept
think
money.
this?
Yes, this is coming from what I know about the season coming up, what I see our schedule, what I see. The Cowboys have the Saints. They are going to get smacked, and Dak
Is your
Prescott
record
is going to lose
4-7?
his mind. No, we're 3-8. We're going to run the table to be 8-8. We got the Bears this week.
You think
Maybe
you
the
beat the
collapse
Bears?
is coming. Maybe Bo's right after the Giants hand them a disappointing loss. I'm not sure. We got to win out. This Cowboys got to go 1-4. The Eagles can go 2-3. Got to split with Washington, and even Washington can go 2-3, and we can be tied with them and still get the tiebreaker. I'm a strong believer the Giants are going to win the NFC East.
Buzz, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a scorching hot take from Tyner, and I couldn't disagree more, to be honest with you. The New York Giants have just been a joke this season, to be simple. The last few weeks, I mean, they've stepped it up a little bit, but to start 1-7 with Saquon and Odell is just, it's awful, to be honest. I don't know the coaching, or if it's Eli, or if it's the defense, or if it's the offensive line, but something needs to change there.
Bo, what do you think about it?
I mean, he said the Packers had a tough road to make the playoffs. And he's talking about making it at 8-8. Chip, that's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Like, there's no common sense behind what he's thinking about. The Cowboys are going to win at least 2 more games.
No, but I agree. There's no common sense. So I got to ask Tyner. Tyner, what makes you think this is a real possibility?
Have you seen these Giants teams before? They do things that are incredible.
You know,
They come from the dirt bottom of divisions, peel off wins in a row, sneak into the playoffs, and become a dominant force and bring Super Bowls back home. I've seen it with Eli.
Now-
I still believe in Eli, and I don't know why you think it's so
I thought the
blasphemous.
9-7 was a little ridiculous, but they started playing better. And we watched the game earlier today. In the first half, they looked like a different team. They looked like they played well, but then I saw the New York Football Giants that I have come to know, and they have shown me that they just constantly find ways to lose. And honestly, I think they just want to lose. But the fact that you even want to try and run the table, if you win like 3 more games, you're just ruining your draft pick at this point.
Now, honestly, I wouldn't root for this if I didn't think it was quite reasonable. If I thought there was very little chance we make the playoffs and win the division,
There is no chance.
then I would root for tanking. I'd start Kyle Lauletta, see what he's got, maybe win 1 or 2 more games. But I see us. I see the path. The path is pretty clear to me. I've mapped it out, and I see how this is a likely scenario.
Bo, what do you think about it being a likely scenario?
It's ridiculous. It's just constantly ridiculous. The fact that he still believes in Eli is even more ridiculous. The man can't move. Like, you have a terrible offensive line. Like,
He was
he
quite
can't
mobile today.
move.
I saw him roll out of the pockets a few times.
Fuzz, any last words on the whole Giant scenario?
Yeah, you just gotta start tanking at this point. Justin Herbert, he's looking good.
Like,
Start tanking.
don't you think that if just a couple more wins is going to ruin a draft
Yeah,
pick?
it's gonna ruin your draft pick.
And even if they get to the
Can't even get a
playoffs, do you see them doing anything in the playoffs?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm more of
Stop the
a
I mean,
rings guy.
you never
Super
know
Bowl
with
guy.
Eli in the playoffs. Though I'll give you that. If they make the playoffs,
Cannot count out.
maybe
the rest of
Eli
the
turns up
playoffs.
on his second year, like he's done twice.
I like this confidence from Fuzz that in the
But
playoffs,
it's not gonna happen.
you
But it's not even
can't-
close to
No,
happen.
it's not gonna happen.
close.
8-8 is ridiculous that you think you're going to win your division.
Oh,
You need
Seahawks
to-
won it at 7-9.
So this is what you need, right? You need the Cowboys. You need personally to win 5 straight, and the Cowboys to win 1 of the next 5. Like they need to lose 4
Yeah.
of the next 5.
Exactly. Ridiculous.
So not only do you need to win out, you need the Cowboys to almost lose out.
Okay, hear me out. Tell me they're not going to lose to the Saints on Thursday.
Okay, that's
Okay,
one
there's a
game.
loss.
Tell me division games aren't anything goes.
Who are they playing?
The Eagles, who are feeling it now. In 2 weeks, they play the Eagles. Tell me they can't lose to the Eagles.
They can.
Tell me the Colts aren't hot right now. Tell me they couldn't. Tell me Dak Prescott couldn't blow it to the Colts.
The Colts are tough.
The Colts are tough. Okay.
Okay,
Fuzz is a
I'll
big
give
fan
them
of the
that win
Colts.
in Tampa Bay against Tampa Bay.
Okay.
And then Week 17's against the Giants, and in my theory, they got to run the table. That's their 4 losses right there. They are 1-4. They are not winning the division. The New York Football Giants.
Even if they go,
Mark it down.
even if they go 1-4, you're not winning 5 straight.
the Bears.
And
The
Okay.
Skins, a division game.
You can have the Skins win. I'll give you that one.
And we got to win, obviously, Week 17 against the Cowboys. We have the Titans at home.
in the Colts.
Marcus Mariota.
Don't you have the Texans or something?
The Colts.
They have the Colts.
Oh, the
You're not
That's their
beating the
toughest
Colts.
game. Their toughest game.
You don't think the Bears is tough?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Is right. Their
I mean, the
defense is
collapse
good.
could be coming. I am a firm believer in the Bears collapse.
So, but actually,
The
I'm
Lions gave the game away
I agree.
without Trubisky.
I agree.
If he isn't able to go,
That's a
you're telling
different
me
story.
the Giants. You telling me the Giants can't find a win?
Giants can. But,
Yeah.
are you still a believer in the collapse?
I am. I told you from the beginning that they were going to go 9-3 and then finish 10-6 at best. Might still be a playoff. berth.
How do you two sleep at night?
Like a baby, to be honest.
Like,
Knowing
what do
the
you?
Giants are
but
going to
I
run the
has
table.
nothing-
Your dreams must be amazing.
Has nothing to do
Dream
with the,
big, kids. Dream big.
has nothing to do with the Packers at this point. I just don't think the Bears are that good of a football team.
You don't think they'll get to 10 wins?
Maybe 10. 10 at best.
You don't see them finding 2 more wins?
They're not going. It'd be 3 to get to 11. They're not getting 3 more
I'm saying they
wins.
get to 10 though. I
I
think
said they can get to 10. But that's still kind of a collapse. We're at the point where you're 8-3, heading into the playoffs, losing 3 of your last 5.
I think of a collapse though as like just completely like Jaguar style, losing 7.
They might go to 9-7.
You really believe so?
Yeah, I do. Looking at the Chicago Bears schedule, I think they could lose.
So where do you see
Their
4
one
losses?
guaranteed win would be like the Niners.
Okay, so where do you see 4 losses?
If they don't have Trubisky next week against the Giants, could be one. They have the Packers and the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I think, is the last one the Lions? Do they have 3 division games left?
I know they have the Rams too.
Well, they have the Rams.
The,
and I think
but
the
against
other
the
one's
Packers is
and
at
the
home.
other one's the Lions.
Okay, against the Packers is at home and the Lions is at home.
If the
No,
Packers win
they
the
played
next,
the Lions twice. They played the Lions twice.
so it's not the Lions.
No.
I don't remember.
I'm not positive who, but I just don't see them losing 4.
If the Packers are in a place where they have won the games before and they're still like in the hunt,
Niners.
they'll beat the Bears. But if they're not really in the hunt,
So
I said the one win.
the remaining schedule is Giants, Rams, Packers, Niners, Vikings. Do you think they lose to the Giants, Rams, Packers,
Giants
Vikings?
maybe without Trubisky.
Okay. I just don't see it as a real possibility. Fuzz, what do you think about the Bears collapse?
I don't think it's coming. I mean, their defense is just. They got Mack, Roquan Smith, probably the NFC Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, Trubisky. If he's not playing, I can see the Giants beating them, but I can't see the collapse coming. I mean,
So you can't see them losing to the Rams, Vikings, and Packers
well, I
because
mean,
that'd be 3 more losses on top of the Giants' loss.
okay, yeah, but I mean,
So-
at the same time,
yeah, right.
I
think
feel
they're
like
still
they
gonna
get
win the
one of them.
division.
I feel like they get at least one of those big time
Mhm.
wins.
I mean, they can beat the
I don't-
Packers.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can beat you guys at home. I don't think they can even beat us. I really still don't believe the Bears struggle with us. I don't know what it is. They can't beat us. They can't beat Aaron.
I need to come with you and Tyner sometime to this candy land that you live in. Because it is full of magical dreams. But switching from that, Derek Haskell, a good listener, has left us a comment asking, and saying actually, Duke would beat the Cavs right now. Bo, is that a possibility?
No. You don't just beat a professional team. It's not realistic. I mean, as much as I believe in Duke, that's not realistic.
Tyner, is it possible?
I think on any given night, Duke could beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. I agree. 7-game series? Absolutely not. A professional team figures it out. Probably wins 4-1, maybe 4-2 if Coach K just leads his team to victory like I know he can because he's the greatest coach I've ever seen. But yeah, they could beat the Cavs right now. Zion Williamson is a freak of nature. 6'7", 285. That's amazing. That is Aaron Judge's size playing basketball, and he is athletic as heck.
Fuzz.
I think Duke could beat the Cavs right now, and I'll tell you why. George Hill is out. Kevin Love is out. Their starting lineup is Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Jetty Osman, Tristan Thompson, and Rodney Hood. And you're going to tell me that Zion and R.J. Barrett wouldn't be the two stars of that team right now.
It's tough. College and professional ball are two different games.
That is true, but those are the 1 and 2 picks, likely, in next year's draft. And Reddish, that's probably another top 5 pick.
Or at least top 10.
It's probably a lottery pick.
Yeah.
3 lottery picks. You know what? When I saw this question pop up on my screen, I thought, no way. No professional team ever loses to a college team. But you know what, Fuzz? You've convinced me. I think Duke could beat the Cleveland Cavaliers
Yes, sir.
on any given night. And you know what? You're right. Zion Williamson, Reddish, and Barrett might start for that team. Like, all 3 of them could start for that team. And you got the great Coach K. I think it's a true possibility. I don't believe ever that a professional team would ever lose to a college team, but the Cavs are so bad, and Duke has potential that I think it's a real possibility. Bo, after hearing 3 people say that it's possible, what do you think?
I mean, I hear where you guys are coming from, but there's a ton of experience level difference here. These guys have played, 5 college games? And you're ready to say that they can beat a professional basketball team?
Well,
Come on.
if
Aren't you ready to say they're all lottery picks? 3 of them?
They are. I don't think Cam Reddish would start on the Cavs.
You're going to tell me that this game is in Cameron Indoor Stadium
The Cameron Crazies.
with the Cameron Crazies that Duke couldn't pull this out.
Duke might be a playoff team in the East.
Okay.
That is a little ridiculous. That's crazy, actually.
Yeah, no, that's not even. That's more than
blasphemous.
ridiculous.
You don't really believe that.
No.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to tonight. Tyron, do you have a game you're excited about?
Celtics Pelicans. I mean, I'm a Celtics fan, and I'm interested in getting Anthony Davis. We can trade Jaylen Brown away anytime. I think we're gonna show out in New Orleans. That we're both 10-10 going into this game. It's in New Orleans. New Orleans is favored by a point or so. I'm looking for the Celtics to come ball out, show Anthony Davis that if he comes to Boston, that's gonna put them over the top. They got a chance to go beat the Warriors in the finals. Show Anthony Davis what Boston basketball is all about. Get that dub and get him to Boston.
Fuzz, is there a game you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the Titans-Texans game tonight in Houston. Just because if the Texans win this game, they're running away with the division. They're 8-3. Colts will be 6-5. 2 games up. I mean, that's hard to come back from.
And the Titans probably won't make the wild card if they lose this game.
Yeah, no. But if they win, if the Titans win, that opens that division right up. I mean, they'll be 6-5. Colts will be 6-5. Texans 7-4. I mean, you never know. So that's my game.
Well, you got a game you're looking forward to?
Nah, I'm gonna go watch Creed 2. That's
Good
all I
movie.
got to
Probably
look
gonna be a good
forward
movie. Can't wait
Yeah.
to see it.
A game I'm really intrigued in. It's not two great powerhouses, but Minnesota's at BC in the Big Ten versus ACC Challenge. BC's favored by 1, and I think BC over the years they've had a couple wins against Duke. They've beaten a Clemson team here and there. They've played Florida State and teams like that tough. I think BC is starting to get it together, and they got a coach they've had for 2 years now or 3 years, and they're starting to play better. I think at BC this is a must-win to show that they are starting to rise in the ACC. Tanner, do you think BC is starting to make that type of improvement?
No. BC is close to home. I root for BC when they're not playing Duke, but I don't think they're close. Why are you guys laughing? I don't think they're that close to becoming a
No.
Duke, a North Carolina.
I'm not even talking that high. I'm
Clemson,
talking.
Well, that's the top 3 in the
Even
ACC.
a Wake Forest,
There's
honestly.
15 teams.
You don't think they're better than Wake Forest?
Probably not.
Probably not. I've heard this before from people. Oh, BC, they're going to have some good wins this year. And then they finish at the bottom of the ACC, finish 1 in a million in conference play, and have no chance of going anywhere. Maybe win an ACC tournament game because they get to play Georgia Tech. And
I
they
feel
catch
like-
them on a bad
I feel like
day.
the last time BC was relevant was when I was like 6 years old.
Now, I'm glad you guys brought up the bottom of the barrel because Maine basketball
Oh god.
is as close. Like, I thought they would get like 11 wins this year. I thought they were
Yeah,
gonna
you're
play,
delusional. That's why.
I thought they were gonna play better. I liked Barron as the new head coach. Tyler, what do you see from this Maine team?
You know, they're 0-6 after tonight.
Yeah, against Quinnipiac, a tough loss.
And they're better than last year's team with Bob Walsh as coach. And they haven't won a game yet. So what does that say? This team, historically, I mean, of recent history, doesn't go anywhere. They're not good. I have some friends on the team, and I don't want to be too harsh, but they'll be lucky to find 4 wins this season. It's going to be another bottom of the barrel, as you said, in the America East, and one and done in the tournament. They're not good. They're quite honestly awful.
Foz, what do you think about Maine basketball this year?
They're horrific. I can't describe another word than that. Like, it is a joke that they're a Division I team. Isaiah White is the only good player on that team. I mean, Fleming, Moss, I mean, he'll be good in a couple years, but Isaiah White's really all you got. Defense is keying on him, and they can't. No one else can do anything. It's as simple as that. I mean, I was watching the game today. I think Isaiah, Vince, and Sergio Darwich are the only players to score for the first half. And you just can't win when you have one threat on the court. You know what I mean?
Bo, what do you think about Maine basketball?
Well, they're not good. They'll never be good. And that's because we're a hockey school. And we'll always be a hockey school. So let's just leave it at that.
Football school this year.
Yeah, I will. I wanted to get into that because Maine on December 1st, this Saturday coming up, is hosting a playoff game. What have you seen from Maine this year, Tyler, on the football field?
Well, after last year and after these rankings that I have no choice but to believe because I don't know exactly what's going to go on in the CAA, I didn't think they were going to be that good. And then they show out, go 8-1, outright win of the conference, get to host a playoff game with a team that's coming from nice warm weather down south. They're not going to be ready for this Maine freezing cold weather. But I'll tell you what, I'll be ready. I'll be there. And Maine's going to win their home playoff game this weekend.
But what do you think about the play from Chris Ferguson at quarterback?
I don't know, Jim. That Maine team, the only reason we're going to win this playoff game will be because of our defense. It's that simple. Defense has got to show out like they always have to because we never have an offense that's good enough to just go out and score 50 points.
And Fuzz, what do you think about Ferguson this year?
I think Ferguson's a stud. I mean, he's only a sophomore. He balls out. I mean, he's just so much better than that backup quarterback. I mean, the only games they've lost this year, they lost one fluke game to William & Mary. I mean, that was the only conference loss. I don't think we'd lose to them again.
Those games happen.
Yeah, we lost to Yale, and I don't think we would have lost to Yale if Robinson wasn't starting that game in a FBS school. I think it was Central Michigan. So, I mean, those are the only 3 games we lost this year. And, I mean, you could argue that we should really have only lost 1. So,
Now, Fuzz, you were at the game a couple weeks ago with me, and Ferguson went down, and we saw a completely different main team with the backup QB in. If the backup QB has to start or play at all because of Ferguson's injuries, what do you think the chances for Maine are?
maybe 2%. I mean, he's that bad. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure he's a good kid, but he can't throw it. He can't run it. I mean, I think you'd be better putting up Tommy out there, honestly, right?
Tom Hanson's a great quarterback.
Hartley, I mean, my boy Grant, dude, you might as well throw him out there because he can actually throw the ball, unlike Robinson. But, I mean, our defense might be able to pull it out if he has to play, but, geez, I mean, special teams. You saw Ernest get those 2 touchdowns last week or 2 weeks ago, but, I mean.
Now, Robinson played 3 quarters, 4 for 10 with 2 picks. What do you think of those numbers?
I mean, that's just awful. I mean, he's just not a threat to throw the ball at all. And when he does, it's right to the other team, if not like a 5-yard little dump pass where somebody runs. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like we're playing with like Kaiser at quarterback or something. I can't even describe it.
Tyner, before we go, is there anything you're looking forward to down the season or in anything, in the NFL, anything?
Oh, Giants to win their 5th Super Bowl this year. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be tough this year. I see how good the Saints are. The Rams are pretty good. Sean McVay's a pretty good coach. I'm also looking forward to see this Duke team develop and see if they can get ready. Well, they will be ready. Coach K is going to make sure of that. See how fast they can get ready and how dominant they can be in this conference in the ACC and be ready to bring home. We have our sights on 6.
I'm going to just move past the part about you talking about how you're worried about the Rams and Saints because I promise you will never see them this year. And I'm going to appreciate the point you made on Duke.
Are you sure?
Positive. 100%.
Bo, is there anything
awesome.
you're looking forward to down the road?
I want to see 2 things in the AFC. Is Mahomes and the Chiefs going to be legit in the playoffs, or is it going to be another Andy Reid collapse? You know, another great season, make it to the playoffs, don't win anything. And the other thing I want to see is this Patriots team poised to make their normal playoff run? Because we've seen, I mean, they're 8-3, and this could be one of the worst teams I've seen with Tom Brady. And they're 8-3. And like they're having a good year, but they've had bad losses to the Lions, Jags, and Titans. All teams who aren't in the playoffs right now. So I don't know. That's the thing I'd like to see. Is New England going to figure it out like they always do?
Fuzz, is there something you're looking forward to?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to the playoffs. I mean, that NFC is going to be fun to watch. You got the Saints, not the Giants, the Rams.
Y'all sleep.
The Vikings, maybe the Panthers. I don't know. It should be fun to watch. I think even the AFC too. I mean, the Chargers. Did they win today? They won today. Right?
Yeah, and I'd like to see what they do down the stretch.
So they're 8-3. Pats are 8-3. Chiefs are 9-2. Texans could go 8-3. So I mean, that's probably the best conference the AFC's. It's probably like the best teams the AFC's seen in a while. So that playoff's gonna be fun to watch too. I think whoever gets home field advantage is probably gonna win. I mean, if the Pats go to Kansas City, I mean, I think they can do it, but I don't know. We'll see.
I'm interested to see who's the 4th team in the college football playoff. Because Alabama's in, Clemson's in, and Notre Dame won out, and they're undefeated. They're in. I'm interested to see what happens and how the committee handles it. Fuzz, Bo, Tyner, thanks for joining the show. Everybody, thanks for listening. Have a safe drive to work today. And remember, keep on balling.